This is the F-82E twin Mustang, an American interceptor and strike fighter at Tier 4 BR 5.0. In history, the F-82 was originally conceived as a long-range bomber escort to support the Boeing B-29 Superfortress during its Tokyo bombing campaign. The first prototype of the F-82 flew in June of 1945, although the aircraft only entered service in 1946, making it too late to take part in World War II. After entering service, the F-82 was used in multiple roles. Airframes equipped with radar were used to replace the P-61 Black Widow as an all-weather interceptor by the Air Defense Command. The F-82 notably saw use in the Korean War and was actually the first American aircraft to shoot down a North Korean aircraft during that conflict. However, being a propeller-driven fighter at the start of the jet age, the F-82 was not exactly afforded a long service life and left active service in November of 1953. In War Thunder, the F-82 is placed on the main US Air Force fighter line after the two P-51D models and before the later P-51H. The main armament of the F-82 consists of 6 50 caliber Browning M3 machine guns mounted in the central wing section. These guns have 400 rounds each and fire at a rate of 1,200 rounds per minute. You may then choose to equip the gun pod, which will be mounted under the central wing section of the aircraft. This pod holds an additional 8 50 caliber Browning M2 machine guns, each with 400 rounds per gun. In practice, these guns appear to drain their ammunition at the same rate as those wing-mounted Browning M3s. The use of that gun pod alongside the already mounted guns gives the F-82 14 centrally mounted 50 cals. It is fair to say that this is an incredibly strong armament for this aeroplane. All of these guns will run off of the same ammunition belt types. There are of course a variety of options. Personally, I tend to use the stealth rounds, although if you wish to use tracers, the universal rounds are probably the best choice. Aside from the gun pod, the F-82 does have a few other options for secondary armament. These armaments allow the aircraft to be used for close air support. Either 500, 1,000 or 2,000 pound bombs. In all cases, 2 bombs can be carried on the outer wing pylons. As well as the bombs, the F-82 can also carry 10 unguided HVAR rockets. These each have 36mm of penetration with a 3.4 kilogram warhead. By no means does the F-82 have a massive selection of secondary armament options, although there is enough to make it useful in either air battles or ground battles. Moving on to flight performance, it seems to be a rather competitive aircraft for its BR. When it comes to climb rate, the aircraft will easily outperform many of the Axis aircraft that it commonly faces, allowing it to gain an altitude advantage early on in games. This will allow you to either have an advantage over enemy fighter aircraft, or engage enemy bombers before they can reach the bomb targets. The F-82 also gets an air spawn thanks to its interceptor designation. This further helps into getting into a good starting position at the start of each game. The F-82 is certainly not a turn fighter, at least in my opinion. Boom and zoom is the best way to go, and of course maintaining a high speed will also be vital in being able to extend away if your attack run is unsuccessful. Some other points of note: the F-82 does feature a fully detailed cockpit model and can actually lose one of its 2 pilots, as both of them have full control of the aircraft, so a pilot snipe on an F-82 does not exactly guarantee a kill. There's also a secondary skin available via the Gaijin market. This is the skin that can be seen for majority of this video. On a slightly less positive note, it is worth mentioning that the F-82 does have a rather high repair cost, peaking at just over 20,000 silver lions when the aircraft is spaded. While getting the footage for this video, I was not using premium account, and I was still able to turn a profit, although only marginally. So with that said, let's jump into some gameplay and go take a look at some matches in Air RB. So into our first match, I have taken off, climbed to a reasonable altitude, and will now attempt to defend a friendly B-25. The enemy Dornier 335 is engaging the B-25, seemingly mucks up his gun run, does not take down the friendly bomber, and then attempts to come for me, but can't pull up in time, allowing me to very easily just completely disintegrate his aeroplane. And, you know, B-25 saved. I would say that was a good little engagement in bomber escort. Of course, as mentioned, this thing was designed as a long-range bomber escort originally, so, you know, fulfilling its original role. pretty good start to the games. Bit later, the B-25 is heading back to base. A lot of the enemy fighters have dropped their altitude, and really that's how most games go. I initially engage a BF-109. He fires, I fire, nothing really comes of that. I kind of mess up my my 2 gun runs. Then though, there is a Focke-Wulf 190 Anton, you know, basically stalling out, going very slowly, making him easy pickings for my guns. Not really any way I could have mucked up that gun run on that 190 Anton. Turning around though, there's 2 more enemy aircraft at low level. That BF-109, who was following me roughly, did get killed then by a friendly aircraft. So there's 2 more enemies on the deck, a 109 and a P-47, German P-47 of course. So we're going to head in and see what we can do. Of course, there's a friendly P-51 currently engaging the 109. Thankfully, he does not kill the 109, although seems to do a bit of damage. But the first thing I have to deal with is that P-47. He comes towards me and either runs out of ammo or all of his guns jam, because he doesn't fire. I mess up my initial burst, but then he just pulls up, exposing a huge amount of surface area, making it blatantly easy for me to kill him. The 109 then just flies in front of me, again an easy target, and that gives me a nice little double kill to push me up to 4 kills. Then there's a single enemy left, a Junkers 188. He bombed a base and then flew back to his airfield. He then took off from his airfield and I decided to intercept. I, on the way, took down some of these train targets. Why not? Might as well get the extra RP and SL. You will have of course noticed in this game I am using the universal rounds which have tracers. Unfortunately though, my hopeful 5th kill, my ace game, is robbed from me when the 188 sees me coming and just crashes. Just why? I mean, he has to pay the repair cost either way, so I guess it's just spite, not giving the enemy a kill. But nonetheless, that was the last enemy player. That was the end of the game. Unfortunately, not a 5-kill game for me. This was the last game I did before making this video, because I wanted to, 1, demonstrate the tracers, and 2, I wanted to get a 5-kill game. And, you know, unfortunately, that was robbed from me, and I decided, you know what, it's a good game, I'm just going to use this one. Okay, so we're going to move over to a second game, this time on Sicily. Nice map, evening game, and of course I'm not using the market skin. This is the standard paint scheme that you will have when initially getting the aeroplane. So starting off with an altitude advantage, stalling out BF-109, fairly easy pickings, and of course as you can see I'm using the stealth rounds this game, so there are no visible tracers from the guns. So started off at reasonable altitude, dove in a bit, killed the 109. I still have a good amount of speed, allowing me to pull away from any engaging enemy aircraft. C-205. Previously, I criticaled that airplane. I figured he was going down, but it turns out all I did was knock off his rudder, and he can seemingly still fly. So I chase him down, not really much he can do, and really it just takes a single burst, and you will get kills like that, where it's a single burst, and you essentially have 14 rounds hitting a very focused spot on that enemy airplane, and the whole thing just explodes. And those kills are just the best. They're really fun kills, and it's just really cool to see. So after that, I decide to drop my remaining altitude to assist a friendly Spitfire. German P-47, I engage, I miss, but then this 109 decides to go vertical right in front of me, giving me a fairly good opportunity to take him out. After which, I look behind me and see a 190 D-13 just rushing up onto my tail. He was going much faster than me, so I was able to dodge out the way and let him overshoot. And, you know, a while later he comes in and we sort of go for a one-on-one kind of low-altitude, low-speed dogfight. And these aircraft actually seem quite well matched in terms of maneuverability. So with the help of a friendly P-47, I'm able to critical him, and I think I knocked out his tail control as he goes up and then just slaps into the ground, giving me my 4th kill of the game. So, yeah, GG 190, thanks for the 4th kill, and that's pretty much it. At this point, I'm somewhat low on ammunition, although there's only a few enemy aircraft left, but I do have plenty of fuel. Another benefit of this, of course, being a long-range escort fighter, is it does have quite a lot of fuel. The minimum fuel is well over 30 minutes, so you can actually stay in the air for quite a long time. A fair while later, I was able to assist a friendly P-47 in chasing down and killing the remaining enemy fighters, allowing for this game to be a victory and another game with 4 kills. So getting into our third and final game in the F-82, starting off yet again with an altitude advantage, diving down on a Focke-Wulf 190 Anton. So go in, he obviously rolling around trying to evade, but you know, all it takes really is a single hit to set him on fire, and shortly thereafter he burns down, giving me my first kill of the game. Looking around, I'm trying to spot enemy aircraft that I could kill, or at least help friendlies in killing, and up ahead of me at relatively close range, we have a P-38 Lightning facing a BF-109. The 109 looks to get in, you know, a pretty good position actually, seemingly in a pretty good position to kill the P-38, so I try and get in there as soon as possible. Once I get closer though, I do notice the 109 appears to be somewhat low on energy. He's not going that fast, but he is getting into quite good positions on the P-38, so I do want to eliminate him as quickly as possible. Initial burst doesn't go so well, but the second burst I do criticals and then just blows his tail off, giving me my second kill of the game. Third kill, BF-109 going vertical. Multiple times, last game for example, we had a 109 go vertical. Didn't end well for him. This time, yeah, not a good idea. If you're doing any maneuver where you're going to be stationary momentarily, don't do that because you're very easy to hit. This guy essentially stalls out and makes very easy targeting for my guns. I just spread a bit around where I think he's going to be, and that knocks him out pretty quick. After rearming my aircraft, I go for the final enemy aircraft on the battlefield, a Messerschmitt 264 bomber. He turns into a position to open up with these rear gunners, and, you know, he will do me a fair amount of damage, but not as much damage as I do to him. I do take him out pretty quickly. As soon as my bursts start landing on his aircraft, he gets damaged pretty quickly, gets set on fire, and then his wing just gets completely shredded off, and he just goes down. He did, however, knock out one of my engines, and very badly damage the other. So at this point, I'm just sitting there crossing my fingers, hoping that the game will end as soon as possible before that other engine fails, of which of course it does. So another game with 4 kills, and a nice one to end the games on for this video. Well, there you go, the F-82 Twin Mustang. What can I say? I mean, it's a good aeroplane. It's fun. I enjoyed playing it. The high repair cost being attempted to be balanced by repair cost is a shame. 20,000 Silver Lions seems a bit excessive, but nonetheless, it is quite a fun aeroplane, and even without premium account, I was able to make a profit when flying the F-82. Of course, having up to 14 50 cals, you know, maximum DACA, that's pretty good. You can, if you learn the guns, I will admit I'm not the best at leading these guns, I'm not the best at using them, but when they hit, you know that they've hit, because they just absolutely demolish whatever it is that they've hit. Enemy bomber, enemy fighter, whatever it is, you will know when you have got a solid hit on that target. So the guns are quite fun. Personally, I've not really used the secondary payloads much. I don't tend to play ground forces around 5.0, at least not for the Americans, so I've not really had any reason to take this out with the bombs or the rockets and use them. Although, you know, if that's what you wish to do, I'm sure that two 2,000-pound bombs will come in handy in that scenario. It's also nice to have a secondary skin available, even if it is via the Gaijin market. I, for one, like it when an aircraft has some more decoration options, so having a secondary skin is a very nice thing for me personally. But I think that's all I really need to say. It's a fun aeroplane, and I very much enjoyed playing it. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like, and if you wish to see more content such as this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.